Hey everyone, this is Denecia, and you are watching So All Business. Have you ever thought that you had so much information in you that you needed to write a book? Or did you want to possibly be an expert at what you do? Well, writing a book is a great way of doing both of those things. So in this video, I'll share tips with you on how to write a book. So the thing that is really funny about writing a book is have the courage of writing a book. It's definitely something to be courageous about. You're putting yourself out there in the world to a bunch of people that you don't know, and I've done it twice. The first time was I remember writing my book, and after I was done, I remember crying. Crying, not because of fear, it was because I was so happy that I was done with the book. Because when you're going through writing a book, sometimes you're going through a lot of emotions. Because you have to say no. When your friends are out having fun, you have to stay in and work on your book. It's a lot of work to really get deep emotionally and give your all at that moment to writing your book. And so, first of all, I want to commend you for having the courage to say, I want to write a book, and to be watching a video that can help you. So, tip number one, writing a book, is to figure out what your topic will be. What is the category that you'd like to share? Will it be spirituality? Is it fiction, nonfiction? Do you want to do something where it's just basic? Maybe it's a cookbook. What is it that you want to really write about? And I'd also say it'd be good to find out why you want to write about it, so you understand, like, the purpose of you writing the book may be to help people, be better cookers at home, or is it to help people understand a particular subject, or just to help people just take their mind away and really get deep into the words that you're writing down the page, so they just kind of go out to another never land and escape from their life in a fantasy. So whatever it is, it's really good to just know what that category is and the reason why you want to do it, and that's the first step. The second step, I'd say, would be to figure out which route do you want to take. Do you want to use the self-publishing route, or do you want to submit your book proposal to a traditional book house? So when you submit a book proposal, you're going to need to know a little bit more about what you're going to be writing about. And a book proposal is basically you creating an outline and giving some parts of what your book will be talking about. And then from there, submitting that book to the traditional publishing house. What ends up happening is that they like that book, they will share some of the cost of you creating the book. That's really cool, because you can, for bigger publishing houses, you have a very large distribution list worldwide, and it's fun to just say that you're able to write that book with a publishing house. The negative side of that is that sometimes the traditional publishing houses, they want to review the book that you're writing and kind of give you tips on how to change the topic a little bit. It's kind of more fine-tuned to their particular market or their particular ideas. And you're going to have to decide as an author, is that something that you're willing to do? If you're not willing to do that, and you're okay with just writing a book just to write a book, the second option would be to go and go through the self-publishing route. Amazon has self-publishing. There's Hay House has self-publishing. Most of the traditional publishing houses have self-publishing because it's so popular. A lot of people just want to write a book. They want to have the freedom of writing whatever they want, and they want to be able to have that book distributed throughout the distribution channel of that particular publishing house. The third thing I would suggest is to really figure out a schedule. How are you going to make the time to write this book? This is so important. Probably the most important thing with writing a book is to create a schedule. Write down what days and times that you're going to be able to write that book, and set a time of how much is the minimum each time that you sit down to write that book. This is going to help you tremendously to get to the end result. If you don't have this, it is really hard to stay focused. You will pretty much get distracted and you will likely not write your book. The way that you can get into a traditional publishing house is using a book agent. There are agents, just like real estate agents, who go out and they represent you. They'll represent you in your book. So it's really, it's really good because they have connections in publishing houses. And they can, if they know the publishing house very well, they'll give you some advice on how to change your proposal so it's more in tune to get approved. The third tip is go do it. You know, really have fun with writing the book, making an experience, letting other people know that you're writing the book so they can check up on it, and it becomes more of not just your book, but it becomes the book of your community. And so that's a really, really fun experience to have. The other thing that I would highly recommend is being able to hire a great proofreader. The one mistake that I learned the hard way was I just thought a proofreader was a proofreader. They're obviously good if they say they are, and you just hire them for whatever fee. And I hired someone and that I didn't know. I didn't really check the references. I really didn't understand how this works. But there are people that are out there and they say they proofread, and they may be in China and don't understand a dang word of English. And so you have to be really careful. And so as a result of that first book, my first book, A Simple Reader's Guide to the Affordable Care Act, the first edition of that book, I hired someone I didn't know off of a website that didn't even have customer service. They didn't really have reviews or testimonials, and I thought that the book was okay because I'm obviously not a proofreader. And until I had a negative review come through Amazon, and from a guy, and I remember this very well, and he basically said, this book is just filled with grammatical errors. Oh my God, like, who wrote this? And I immediately emailed him back or responded to that comment and said, you know what? Thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate it. I will pull the book. And so do you know, I ate the cost of ordering about 200 books. I threw them all away. And I decided to pay the extra money to create a second edition of that book. Reputation is everything. You know, I've had my business for 20 years. One of my values is to make sure that whoever hires me on or whoever I work with, that I'm not just taking accounting for myself, but for their credibility too. And so I want to make sure that they're looking like a rock star. And so if someone picks up a book and it's awful and it has my name on it, I take that very seriously. Distribution is really key to getting a book out there. And the book was already distributed around the world and I had to pull it. But it was the best experience because I learned, ask a friend of mine who actually wrote a book, and he had a cousin who is a professional proofreader. And I respected this particular person who's a mentor of mine. And she was amazing. With my second edition of the book, she did a phenomenal job. I was very, very happy with her work. And I did check her references and everything else. I checked out what she wrote before and everything else. I have more time in that. I highly recommend that you do that as well. When you hire someone as a proofreader, if you can find someone who knows a proofreader who's used them, oh, perfect. If you can't, then going on to maybe Upwork.com, which is a really cool site to find freelancers, and then being able to see the client reviews of the particular jobs that proofreaders have done is very helpful. You can also go on to just different websites for reading groups or writers, author groups, and things of that sort, and that's very helpful. Then last but not least, figuring out when you are going to be done with that book. I commend you for having the courage to become an author and to take the leap of faith and follow your dreams. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you want more tips, feel free to comment below. To all my souls who are finding their way with grace and ease, until the next time we meet, be beautiful and be well.